They say write what you know, and writer and director Celine Song has begun her film career doing just that. In 2023, she broke onto the scene with the excellent Past Lives, a deeply personal story about a woman's childhood sweetheart re-entering her life long after she had settled down with another man, forcing her to grapple with the life she had chosen. With the release of her sophomore feature, Materialists, Song has once again returned to a love triangle. A woman forced to reckon with decisions she's made in her love life, and New York City, while also exploring the little-known world of professional matchmaking, an industry she once worked in herself. It is often interesting to see broader themes emerge in a director's work, and much of what I liked about Materialists is Song's deepening discussion of why we choose the relationships that we do. Yet for as much as I've enjoyed thinking about those themes, I must admit that while there are moments of brilliance akin to Past Lives, the magic Song found in that film is not here. In 2023, Song made audiences fall in love with Nora, Haesung, and Arthur. She had us on the edge of our seats just waiting to see where her story would go. But in Materialists, it's hard to remember her characters' names, or even describe who they are. Lucy is one of those characters. Played by Dakota Johnson, she is a failed actor turned successful matchmaker living in New York City. Having just gotten her 9th client to the altar as we begin the film, the ultimate achievement in the matchmaking business. It is at this wedding where Song's triangle emerges. Harry, the brother of the groom, played by Pedro Pascal, takes an immediate interest in her. A ridiculously wealthy private equity investor, he feigns interest in her matchmaking services, but seems dead set on matching with her. Plus she runs into her old flame, John, a struggling stage actor played by Chris Evans, who happens to be working as a caterer. The central tension of the film is whether Lucy will choose the financial security of Harry or choose the love she still holds for John, despite her materialistic misgivings about him. Unfortunately, the tension around that choice is seriously lacking. Marketed as a romantic comedy, Materialist finds itself in a gray area, where it is probably not humorous enough to fit that billing, while also leaning into nearly all the tropes we expect from the genre. While Song is a compelling enough writer to work in plenty of depth to chew on in the margins of this story, she rarely strays from convention, leading to a somewhat underwhelming ending that has been telegraphed from the beginning. At the same time, Song's naturalistic style clashes with such a conventional approach. Audiences primed for a breezy romantic fare may be put off by a film that leans into awkward silences, slower pacing, and dialogue that is purposely designed to feel a bit stilted at times. The goal here is to lend real humanity to her characters and their interactions, something that worked quite well in Past Lives, but here amongst such overwhelmingly conventional choices and underwritten characters, it clashes too often. While there is plenty to enjoy in their performances, there is clearly a chemistry problem with our central trio that is only exacerbated by their thin characterization, undercutting the emotion that is vital to make Materialists truly sing. Lucy's philosophy on relationships is almost completely analytical, influenced by her experience as a matchmaker. Marriage is a business contract, as she says, so she's out to check boxes. Height, hairline, shared taste, and income level, amongst others. While Song's thematic exploration of this philosophy and the limits of it is one of the best things about the film, in building her characters, she doesn't give us much more than these superficial bullet points. John gets the most characterization. We see him on stage, we experience his living situation, and we even get a sense of his political worldview. But we don't really see what commonalities he and Lucy share that is supposedly the basis of their chemistry. Our glimpse into Harry's life is even more superficial, though purposely so. All we ever learn about him is his penchant for fine dining, his job, his swanky apartment, and the lengths he's gone to try to make himself the perfect mate. But Lucy is an unforgivably thin character. We certainly explore her outlook on love and relationships and see her work life, but I found it odd that we never see her apartment and know very little about her hobbies and interests. All of this, as well as the valid question of whether Dakota Johnson was the best choice for this role, leads to a chemistry problem. In the case of her pairing with Pascal's Harry, that is the point, and it actually produces one of the film's best scenes. In a nearly unbroken single shot, the two of them in profile against the backdrop of an expensive restaurant, Lucy and Harry negotiate their business contract. Subverting the typically emotional climax that comes when two people decide to enter into a relationship, they coldly list off all the reasons for and against their pairing. As the camera slowly pushes in, the look on Lucy's face is not one of love, but of acceptance. She's settling for the materialistic grandeur of a life with Harry. But even though Materialists contains one of the best performances I've seen from Chris Evans in a while, he and Johnson simply do not have the chemistry required to land their romance. Song does her best to make it possible to root for their pairing, but when they share a romantic scene later in the film, I was left a bit cold. The film was telling me, at times quite loudly, that they share a deep emotional connection Harry can't hope to match, but I just couldn't feel it. Still, while I found Materialists lacking when it came to emotional impact and character development, it worked quite well for me as a thematic piece. Lucy's calculated view of relationships, while foreign to me, was fascinating to dig into. While Song ultimately rejects the idea that material concerns should be the top priority in relationships, you see why Lucy may feel that way, and why someone like John may need to think about those things a bit more. Lucy's worldview is obviously somewhat informed by her gender and the patriarchal expectations we've put on institutions like marriage as a way to climb the social and economic ladder. As a woman from a working-class background making $80,000 a year in the most expensive city in the country, you see why Lucy would be concerned about John being broke. But while a realistic outlook is wise, one can start to value these non-negotiable income levels and social signifiers to the detriment of their own humanity. For Lucy, that is reflected both in the way she is compelled to resign herself to a relationship without chemistry, and in the way she sees her clients not as humans, but checkboxes to be filled. It is in the film's exploration of the matchmaking industry where you can feel Song letting off some steam about her time working as a matchmaker. But it also speaks to broader critiques of modern dating culture in general. Online dating and apps like Tinder and the like have similarly commodified the whole experience of dating, encouraging us to sift through potential mates like job applicants, seeing who may check all of our superficial boxes. Yet even in Song's probing of Lucy's worldview, which astutely shows how she has come to view love and relationships in capitalistic and materialistic terms, she can't help but reach for convention. When one of her clients ends up in a dangerous situation on her account, instead of going deeper into a client's perspective on this industry, Song unfortunately uses it as a character-building moment for Lucy. Given the serious subject involved, it feels even more fraught when Song offers Lucy an unrealistic redemption arc that is paired with the romantic climax of the whole film. So while I have truly enjoyed the time I've spent thinking about the various themes running through Materialists, and ultimately recommend it as a worthwhile time at the theater, your mileage may vary. Where I found it hard to connect with emotionally, I have seen plenty of others respond more strongly. I think all of that really depends on whether you buy the chemistry between Song's leads. There are times when you must admit when a film just isn't fully in your wheelhouse, and this may be one of those times. Nevertheless, Materialists has some moments of true brilliance that left me with enough to be satisfied with. So I'm giving the film 3.5 out of 5 stars. It is currently out in theaters.